Captain's Log Supplemental. Commander Kim keeps saying we need a new transporter. We've had 3 accidents this month already. I've kept it in operation as long as possible, but I feel like I'm running out of options here. I was really hoping that it would have duplicated me by now. I am so tired. Having a second me around would make my life so much better. I begged Kim to hold out just a little longer, but apparently she doesn't like having a houseplant growing in her arm. She's always said we needed more greenery on board. What a hypocrite.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Captain's Log Supplemental. My name is Stanford. I am joined by my 2 friends and co-hosts, Rob and Chris.
Hello.
Hey.
And we are overseen by our lovely producer, Mariah.
Hi there.
Captain's Log Supplemental is a Star Trek rewatch podcast. We are rewatching all of Star Trek in chronological canon order. We have finished Enterprise. We took a quick jaunt over to the original pilot for the old series, and now we are making our way through Discovery, which is going much faster because it is a shorter show. If you like what you hear, or you don't, I don't care. Give us a rate, give us a review, give us 5 stars. We are 5-star people. And if you don't like it, lie. Lie about those reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I have a very important announcement. Our own lovely producer Mariah is an election official this year.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Officially official.
I just had my poll worker training today.
So she's going to learn how to work a poll.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So if
Just a joke.
you're in Pennsylvania, primary election day is May 20th. So go vote.
Now, you're a judge of elections, so does that mean we have to call you Your Honor now?
Yes?
Cool.
I feel like that's fun.
I feel like I would get tired of it very quickly.
I was telling someone what this means because your poll workers, you either have someone who is a machine operator, someone who's a clerk, and then you have your minority inspector and majority inspector, and then the judge of elections. So before I was a clerk, and then I think I was a minority inspector just because they weren't available. And those people check people in, have them sign the poll book, give them their ballot. And if there are any problems, then they get sent to the judge. That would be me now. So now I get to deal with all the problems.
The phrase minority inspector sounds like someone who's like, oh, this person has some melanin. Can you go ahead and give them a once-over? Like, that's what that sounds like.
She holds up the Family Guy card.
Yeah.
Can't vote. Yeah.
Yeah. So although usually during poll worker training, my favorite part is to stay late and listen to all of the old people ask questions about how they can, how they're supposed to know that the brown people in their area can vote because they can't say their names or understand what they're saying, or their signature doesn't look exactly the same.
So, and for clarity too, we live in a town called Lansdale, which has an outsized makes it sound weirdly judgy, but like we have a larger than nationally average population of Asian people, specifically Korean people, as well as some Japanese people and Chinese people.
Actually, a lot of Indian.
And then a lot of Indian people as well. So those are the Asian populations that we have here. So like there are some accents, and actually most of the town's signage are in Korean as well as English, which is kind of fun. Now I have a question.
Well, I was just going to say though, and I understand that being a poll worker is a long day and not everyone has that day off. But if you are under the age of 50, can you please start being a poll worker? Because all these motherfuckers are so old. I am the youngest person there. I'm not sure if they're going to drop dead the day of. Okay. So we need more young people as poll workers.
Yeah.
And you get paid.
Bills.
Right. So actually, that's my question. So when do you get the check from the deep state to go ahead and rig the election? Like, do we get that day of, or do we have to wait for like a payment period?
My favorite moment last year during the election, someone came in and asked for more than one ballot. And we were like, no, sir, you only get one ballot. Everyone gets to vote once. And he said, well, you let the brown people or whatever vote
Did
more
you say
than
the illegals?
No, it was the illegal. You let the
no.
illegal aliens vote more than once. And our
God.
minority inspector, without dropping a beat, goes, no, sir, we let them vote only once as well.
Oh, shit.
It's good times. So,
Man. Oh, boy. America. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that we should argue about going back to like constitutional originalism, and like we'll convince everybody on the right that it's a really good idea. We need to go back to the way that the Constitution originally handled citizenship, which was if you lived here, you were a citizen.
I don't know. Did the Constitution ever actually have a naturalization process outlined?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, because when the Constitution was written, nobody was fucking born in America because it hadn't existed yet. So, like,
Yeah.
Rob, do you vote at the same place we do, or no?
No, they do not.
No.
Okay.
No, we're one town over.
But
Y'all vote
I'm not going to
Hatfield.
dox
Okay.
myself. Oh, thanks.
There's like 80 some odd thousand people in our tiny town. So like nobody will be able to find me probably, except that like my information is probably already on the internet because of all the LP stuff.
Sure.
you can find people who are registered to vote. I can go on the internet right now
Yeah, that is
and
true.
look up where Rob is registered to vote right now. I just
Also, where they go to vote. At least that you can't hear. Yeah.
Yeah, so people
That's
can
all.
look Rob up right now.
So anyways, Chris,
All
why
online.
haven't you
Don't
signed up to
do
work your
that.
poll?
I told you I got them bills.
Goddamn bills.
Yeah,
God,
deep
damn
state checks, man.
Deep State's not paying good enough, I guess.
No, not yet. Yeah, see that, and that's where like election day is not a holiday, so like you motherfuckers still have to work. Like that sucks.
Yeah, which is bullshit, by the way.
Yep.
Election day should absolutely be a holiday.
Yep.
That's like
But, they
step
don't actually
one.
want people to vote. So
Step one
here
of
we are.
no, the Republicans have straight up said like if everyone votes, we lose. So like that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Step one, national election holiday. Step two, maybe it should be more than one day.
More than one day.
Step three, ranked choice.
Required voting?
I am actually okay with required voting, provided that you are allowed to abstain as your vote.
Yeah, sure. You have to, but you have to do it.
But you have to go through the process of voting, even if you select abstain.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But I also believe that we should make voting more accessible before then, because all we're going to be doing at that point is fining poor people for having jobs. Like,
Yep, that's valid.
Yeah.
Valid. Yep.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So anyways, unlike our try-hard election system, this week's title of the episode is really just a beautiful poetic symphony called The Butcher's Knife Cares Not for the Lamb's Cry.
Which, by the way, little fun fact.
If there's some trivia you can't miss, it's a fun fact. Quick, Chris.
This is the second longest episode name in Star Trek. Do you know what the first is?
I do.
It's worse.
But do you know, like, can I take you on a journey real quick?
You're not going to answer Chris's question?
No,
first?
I did. I said I do, but I want to go
Rob,
on this journey.
I don't
Hold on,
tell
hold on.
me the name.
Let me tell you the journey before, because it's related.
I want to reveal it, though.
Yeah, I'll
It's
let
not in
you
the pale
reveal it.
moonlight.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I saw this dumb title, and I'm like, that's got to be a quote, right? That's got to be a quote from a book or some shit. Like, no one would be this stupid. Turns out, so I go into Memory Alpha, and of course, they have like the little tree at the top of the thing that's like the contents. And I'm like, oh, sweet. There's a piece of trivia about the title. That must be where the title comes from. Click. No, it is only one piece of information, and it is this trivia fact that you're about to tell us.
But
The longest episode title in Star Trek is For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. Can you guess, Rob, what series this is from?
TOS.
TOS? Yeah,
Oh,
1968.
absolutely.
They had some poetic ass names back then.
Yeah, so I don't know. I cannot find any other information about the title of this. episode. I'm guessing like I think I see what the metaphor here is, because I think the tardigrade is the lamb, right?
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That is what they were going for, I believe.
But like, there's weirdly no information for being such a uniquely bizarre title.
Yeah, like I said, try hard.
So anyways, this week, episode 4 of Discovery, The Butcher's Knife Cares Not for the Lamb's Cry. During the cold open, we get a recap. I skipped it. And then we get like this like stormy, like space storm looking thing. But it turns out, I don't know if y'all remember, but on the Sci-Fi Channel back in like the early 2000s, you know how like sometimes they have those like intermezzo commercials that happen for a channel?
Yeah.
Sci-Fi has always had these ones where it was like weirdly zoomed in on something and you're like, what the fuck is this? And then it zooms out and it explodes. It's like a piece of popcorn or some similar thing. That is what we are getting here. We're supposed to think it's like, what the fuck kind of space storm is this? But it turns out it's just like some clothing being synthesized that we were like micro zoomed in on. Gonna be honest, didn't hate it. Thought it was kind of cool.
It was pretty fucking cool. Yeah. It was pretty neat.
It's like, that's a weirdly detailed view of the synthesizing process. The computer, though, because there is no one who delivers a deadpan line in this show better than the computer. Because the computer's like, here's your uniform. You don't have a rank, bitch. Haha, pwned. Like, the computer is real fucking mean. Anyways, back in Michael, so Burnham is synthesizing a new uniform so that she can get the cakey uniform just like everybody else. Although, fun fact, this is not the cakiest uniform we will see in this episode.
Trying to think now.
Oh yeah,
who else had a cakier uniform?
Was it the Klingons?
It was the Klingon EVA suit. Oh man, okay. Vok had some fucking cake. In a goddamn bakery back there. Burnham is trying on her uniform. They're using a mirror hologram thing, which that's weird, but it's also stupid that it's mirrored, because that completely defeats the only advantage I could see to having a mirror hologram, which is like
just having a mirror,
which is like seeing yourself as other people see you, which is apparently, this is a fun psychological fact. They're finding that that's why a lot of people don't really like themselves in photographs, is because they're too used to seeing themselves in the mirror.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Bizarre. And apparently, like, because you can, using 45-degree angles and shit, you can make a mirror that shows true.
Right.
And people find it very upsetting. Like,
really?
It's disconcerting to them, yeah.
So weird.
But, like, that would be the only advantage to using a hologram instead of just a fucking mirror.
Sure.
But whatever. Tilly brings in a cargo container that has an alarm going off every few seconds. There does not seem to be a silence button for this alarm, because Tilly says it will not turn off until until Burnham opens it. It is for Burnham. We will find out later that the alarm actually does have a single silence mode, and we will find out later what it is. However, this container, when Burnham touches the opening device, is like, hey, it's the last will and testament of Georgiou. Do you accept it? Which...
She's like, fuck no.
Yeah, she's got some issues. She's like, fuck no. Although it is funny to me that in Starfleet or Federation or whatever, you have to accept the last will before you could open the case. Because that implies that someone could leave you some real, like, it's like, too late now, you already said yes, and they left you like some like fucking real shitty stuff in this case.
Just like human feces.
Yeah, just like his entire case of shit. Or just like a baby. It's like, this is your baby now. Fuck you.
Oh my god.
Okay. Burnham says, fuck that shit, slides under her bed, and leaves. And Tilly's like, all right, testy damn. Burnham heads towards the bridge. She gets in the turbo lift with Saru.
Who's slightly put off.
He is. However,
his ganglia are put off.
Did you notice? This is some subtle foreshadowing that I was surprised to notice. When did his ganglia go off?
After she called for the bridge?
Nope. After the mention of
talking about Lorca, right?
Lorca, yep.
Yeah.
Which is like, weirdly subtle for a, well, I guess maybe because I'm ruined by Enterprise, which lacked all subtlety, but like
Sure.
weirdly subtle that he doesn't, his ganglia don't go off until they start talking about Lorca. However, he's like, you're supposed to be on the ship. And she's like, well, the captain said that I could stay. And he's like, I take it upon myself as first officer to really know the crew manifest inside and out. And I did tell the captain that we do not have an opening for a mutineer, which is a funny joke.
If he had asked me, I would have told him. Yeah.
This episode in particular so far has made me really appreciate Discovery's humor. Like,
it's definitely
there's a couple of really good liners this episode.
Yeah, it's definitely 20 teens, 2020s humor. Like, it's good. Okay, they pop out of the turbo lift to red alert on the bridge, and there's an attack going on. It's pretty quick, easy to tell right away that this is like a simulated attack.
Right.
Of course, because Star Trek is stupid, the chief of security is also in charge of the tactical torpedo systems. So Landry is shooting torpedoes at simulated birds of prey. They miss one, the bird of prey kills everybody. And then Lorca goes into this speech about how everyone needs to stop sucking so much because Discovery is going to be able to transport itself behind enemy lines, but it'll be alone because it's the only ship that can do it. Which, like, fair, but also then why isn't Discovery a better armed ship?
Well, it's because it was a science vessel, right? That got yanked into being turned into...
I feel like it would be easier to just move the fucking mushroom drive over to a better ship than to, like, stick around with the Discovery.
You don't know.
Like
he also
the
gave
idea
a
of
very
calling it the mushroom
sarcastic
drive.
clap after they got destroyed, too.
Yeah, he did. What'd you say, Rob?
I like the idea of calling it the mushroom drive instead of the mycelium network or
The spore drive, yeah.
spore drive. Yeah,
Spore drive isn't a better name.
It's not.
No, that's why I like it.
Do you know why they decided not to put the spore drive on the Enterprise?
Are you
I feel like this is going to be a really stupid dad joke, but no.
Because they didn't have mushroom.
Oh,
There it is.
I am proud to say that joke actually comes from one of Liam's like stories I had to read for him for school.
Oh my god. Fantastic.
Good joke. I just thought of it too. So proud of myself. Anyways, every person with a dad in like a 30-mile radius of me just rolled their eyes and they don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Lorca says keep working on it and then grabs Burnham and they head down to what I am calling his ominous storage room, although later I call it his lovely room of death.
Sure.
He explains that he's like, look, I've got this little room down here full of stuff. And Burnham's like, do you have the deadliest weapons in the galaxy? There's a batleth on the wall, so deadliest.
hey, the first episode proved its deadliness. Maybe it was to its wielder, but it was still deadly.
Someone died, yeah. Although actually, he did die because Volk replaced him. Yeah, so he is dead. Okay.
Hey, fun fact. Technically, everyone who has wielded a batleth will die one day.
Shut the fuck up.
No, Wesley Crusher held one in that one TNG episode, and he's still fucking alive.
Is he, though?
He's an immortal traveler, bitch. Yeah, come at me. I actually, genuinely, I was just being a dick. I don't know if Wesley Crusher ever held a batleth. I can't think of a time, but like, I'm sure he did at some point, right? Where the fuck was I? Oh, deadliest weapons in the galaxy. But Lorca points her over towards like a big, ominous, like dark chamber on the side of the wall. And inside there is the tardigrade, which has a lot of very like strong instinctual things. Like it can travel the mycelial network by instinct, and it like obviously understands like danger and stuff. And it knows dramatic timing to a fucking T. Because this thing like leaps at the thing. Yeah.
Why is this thing's pen a long, dark hallway?
Well, because it doesn't like the light.
It doesn't like light.
But neither does Lorca. The room is usually dark.
But it wasn't. What if other people are there who need to turn the lights on?
Yeah, what he said. Does this thing have eyes? Why doesn't it like light? The tardigrade eye drops would be so fucking funny. Lorca says like, hey, this thing killed a bunch of Klingons and it could tear through ship hulls and stuff. And Burnham's like, yeah. That's cool. And Lorca's like, weaponize it. With the same like venom that like Palpatine uses.
Do it.
And then we get to the opening. Act 1. We're back on the Klingon ship, and haha, they ate Giorgio. They fucking ate her.
Yep.
They ate her dead ass body, and that is so fucking funny to me that I could not stop giggling while I was typing that note.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they detail how they picked the meat off her smooth skull.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of funny because I know we talked about this in the first episode when I misremembered exactly what happened at the end of the first episode / into the second episode. But these Klingons are very, very specious, and they have no qualms about eating people that they don't deem to be Klingon.
I mean,
Klingons gotta eat, I guess.
if it's ethically sourced.
Pasture raised.
Let's see. Seems pretty easy to convince this guy. I don't know who they're talking to.
Well, no, it was what's her face talking to Vogue, telling him that he's got to go steal the Shenju's dilithium.
Oh, that's right. Volk, Laurel kind of talks Volk into some shit. Yeah, I guess like basically the Klingon ship has been adrift in this system for 6 months, which seems like that is a surprisingly long time for like Star Trek engineering repairs. Like usually that shit takes a couple of hours, but these motherfuckers have been out here for 6 months.
I mean, the whole like bridge section did get just blown off. So
fair enough. And their people are like starving. They don't have any food, and he refuses to. He doesn't want to scrounge from Starfleet ships. He only wants to scrounge from Klingon ships, because he feels like it is a dishonor to Kuvma's name to scrounge parts from his killers.
Right, to put on his family.
Yeah,
shit.
Laurel said, "Well, you got 2 options. You can either do it, or we're all gonna fucking die. What's your want?" So she kind of talks him into like maybe we should just go ahead and do that.
Which, by the way, I want to point out, for being united, but where are the rest of the fucking Klingons? Like nobody could just like come by.
Well, they're all fighting the war. Shut up. Back in the lovely room of death, the computer lets Burnham know that the tardigrade is not a predator. It's like a filter feeder. It just like eats, it scrounges. It's a scrounger. Like it just goes into the kitchen and opens the fridge and just kind of roots around. Landry comes in, and I'm starting to think that maybe Landry named this episode because she comes in and she's like, "Let's call it Ripper," which is so taser facey that it made me fucking giggle.
I protested in my notes and henceforth refer to him as Fluffy.
So I don't remember. Do we ever find out, is Landry also from the Mirror Universe? Because she's really evil.
No, she's just a bitch.
Yeah, she just sucks.
She just sucks. That's the one thing
right.
you
She
learn.
doesn't suck for much longer because she's
everyone in the Mirror Universe sucks, but kind of a lot of people in the real universe do too. Okay, so Burnham's like, okay, but I don't think it's mean, and like I think it's actually kind of nice. Maybe calling it Ripper is it? And Landry's like, we're sticking with Ripper. A, like it's been decided. Fuck you. And B, she's like, we need to turn this into a weapon. So either harvest its claws or harvest its rage glands or what. Like, she's just naming random shit at this point.
Just assuming biological components like rage glands. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Which, like, in another context would be that's a lower decks comment, right? Like some kind of ridiculous list of shit that, like, this thing should have. Burnham's speeches at Landry about how we're not going to assume that it's deadly. You're assuming it's deadly. You're assigning motive to it when it doesn't have any. And Landry's speeches back about how we need to figure this out or we're all dead. We cut up to Lorca's a weirdly uncomfortable cut to Lorca's ready room where he's eating what looks to be shrimp cocktail.
Yep. Like was there like an octopus there too? Like what was happening?
Yeah, there was a lot going on that plate. He gets a call from the Admiral, and he gives this look of like, well, this will be good. And he answers the call. The Admiral picks up, notices he's eating, and goes like, ew, are you eating right now? What the fuck? Which, like, as much as I don't like Lorca, the fact that he's like, I'm having a snack. Fuck off. Do you need something? Is like, okay, I'll give him that one.
Yeah.
You know what would have been really funny if the writers just canonically made it so that all Mirror Universe Lorca ever ate was fortune cookies.
That would be funny. Or if he was just eating in every scene, like Robert Downey Jr. in the first Avengers movie. The Admiral says, hey, we need you to rescue this colony that's under a Klingon attack. Their shields are going to be down in 4 hours. Or 6 hours, 6 hours. Lorca says, I told you we'd be ready when you called, so we're ready. We can make the jump with an immediate cut to Stamets going, there's absolutely no fucking way we can't make this jump.
That was good.
And again, man, like I love it. I love it. Like this is such good modern filmmaking techniques.
Yeah.
Stamets techno babbles at him, and Lorca's like, figure it out. Saru tells us that the Klingons are going to get through the shield and take the planet in exactly like 5 hours, 42 minutes, and 38 seconds, which is wildly precise.
Yeah. Oh, I want to note here, you kind of glazed over it. But the whole bit about Stamets with the technobabble part, he was identifying that the reason they couldn't make big jumps was because they didn't have the calculating power.
I was just about to get to that. Yep.
Okay. You said Stamets techno babbled at him and kind of moved on. So
yeah, no, because I was about to talk about like this. So this next part, because like there's a bit of a techno babble that's literally like words that don't even mean anything, and then Saru's like, "We got to figure it out," and then he explains that like the problem with spore jumping further is that we lose resolution of where we're going. We're having trouble navigating, and then they're talking about the equipment they pulled off of the Glen. Which was their like sister ship.
Terrible ship name, by the way. I didn't say that last time, but just what an awful name for a ship.
Why is that awful?
Because all I can think of is the USS Quagmire.
The USS Steve.
It's named after John Glenn, the astronaut, you fucks. The first American to like orbit the planet?
No, it should be the John Glenn then. Glenn's just like a dude's first name.
Yeah.
God
Gonna name a ship the USS Matthew.
You know, first of all, don't do that. Ew. Second of all, I'm sorry. I like pick a different name. It's fine. But like, I do like the names that are like historical figures instead of like Discovery.
We'll make it more obvious then.
I genuinely, the first time I heard Glenn, I'm like, oh, it must be like John Glenn.
Nope.
So the problem is, here's the problem. Y'all didn't go to space camp, and it fucking shows.
No, but I have played a lot of Kerbal Space Program.
I also know who John Glenn is, so I mean,
you know what I just realized?
What's that?
Spores are like the spice of Star Trek.
Oh my God. Spores must flow.
The spores must
the spores must flow.
Oh man. Let's see. So anyways, the show does a pretty good job like telegraphing that the tardigrade is kind of important without actually saying it. Again, I'm spoiled by how shitty Enterprise was at subtlety, but this was again another subtle moment because they're talking about like, hey, we've got this like tech that we pulled from the Glen. It needs some kind of computational element that we didn't find. And like there wasn't another supercomputer over there, so it's weird. Plus there's this other thing that we can't get to activate. It's kind of weird. So it's just all very like good job telling us this and then showing us later why that stuff actually matters and stuff. Like a well done storytelling element. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Klingons. So the one guy who was a douche comes to Volk and says, "Hey, sorry, I was a douche." Volk buys this, which is a little naive, but like, okay. And he's like, hey, maybe I can help out. Anyways, remain Klingon. Yay, remain Klingon. Okay. Spoiler alert, this guy turns out to continue being a douche.
Shock and surprise.
Act 2. We're going to Black Alert because Lorca's like, okay, Stamets, we got to give it our shot. And they're going to try to get to where they're going, which is like 94 light years away or some shit. It's a long way away. Probably more than 94, but it's a ways away. As the spore drive spools up, Burnham, down in the lovely room of death, notices that the tardigrade does not seem to enjoy the fact that the spore drive is spooling up.
Yes, Fluffy is not enjoying it.
And then Lorca says his famous line, which is "go," which is the lamest shit, and it's funny. Like, "warp me, baby" is better. Like
oh
I
God.
I feel.
I would like the ship
Warp
to
me,
go
baby.
now.
I would like the ship to go now, yeah.
Like we got to stop making it a thing. Look, I get it, Star Trek. Like you did it in the first couple, and now everybody feels like they have to have one. But
well, I mean,
we just don't.
Canonically, it is a thing. Like that's what I would like for the ship to go now is because they're like, you have to have a thing.
There's so many captains. How do they all have a thing? There's only so many ways to say it.
Dude, even
I liked it.
Even Freeman makes a joke about it.
Yeah. That's
like,
where "warp me" comes out. Yeah. I do appreciate the guy in Picard going into a different language. Like, brilliant. Yes, there's so many other ways to do this. Let's see.
Was it just like engage instead of engage? Like,
It's Dale.
Dale. Oh, that's
I believe
awesome.
I believe it's Portuguese. So anyways, they go to Black Alert, they do a spore jump, and they end up basically like falling into a star immediately, which I laughed at for some reason. I thought that was funny as fuck.
This is what happens to me every time I warp to a new star system in Elite Dangerous.
Well, it's not called
Directly.
Elite Safe, so I'm not surprised.
It's a fair point.
They have a few like risky moments of like, we're gonna fall into the star, but they don't. And I do appreciate that the show did not dwell. It was like, oh shit, there's a star, and then all of the competent people went ahead and were competent, and they just got away from it. Like, it's okay. Like, it's a spaceship. It's designed to not fall into stars. Like,
Wait. You mean the professional crew of a starship is a professional?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. They go away. Lorca's like, Stamets, what the fuck? And Stamets is like, I told you we're having trouble.
I told you shit's fucked.
Took a left at Albuquerque.
Looney Tunes ref right there for you.
Yeah, you like that?
Good.
All right. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Stamets got hit in the subsequent, like he like hit his head on his console and broke his nose.
Oh yeah, he just fucking whiplashed into that bitch. Which is
Burnham,
the impetus to go meet.
Well, hold on. Burnham is in the lovely room of death, and Landry comes in, and Burnham's like, "Hey, this thing, it's reacting to the spore drive. I think they might be connected somehow." And Landry's like, "You said it hates light. Maybe it just didn't want to crash into the sun." Which, how the fuck did it know it was going to crash into the sun? What a stupid sentence, Landry. You're a dumb motherfucker.
This scene proves she's very stupid.
She is.
Yep.
She knows how to punch people and shoot torpedoes, which, like, all right, fair enough.
But not well.
So anyways, then we get some light racism from our brand new Dr. Dreamy, who shows up for the first time in the show.
Dr. Culber.
He says that if Stamets doesn't stop squirming while he's fixing his nose, he'll end up looking like a Tellarite.
They're flirting.
A little bit. They're like a thing already. Like they're a couple.
Like
yeah.
it doesn't like show it in the scene. I couldn't remember if that
I think
happens
the
later.
next episode is when they're like shown together brushing their teeth and stuff.
Gotcha.
Lorca comes down and gives the gross Musk speech. Which, do you know the trivia behind this, Chris?
There's trivia behind
There
this?
is. So I was told that Musk paid for this.
What?
Okay, that turns out to not be the case.
No.
Okay, as I say,
okay.
that's
The real story is actually kind of funny. The actor who plays Lorca, it was not in the script as Musk. He threw it in because he was like, Musk's the kind of douche that would like this. Maybe he'll give me a free Tesla, which, like, I gotta respect the hustle. Like, so it turns out that's why Musk is like, how do you want to be remembered? Like Albert Einstein, the Wright brothers, Zephyr Cochrane, Elon Musk is gross. Ew, shut the fuck up. Ew, gross.
Yep. Well, you know, and this was even before, like, he got real publicly gross. Like, obviously he's been a shithead for a while, but at this point he still had a relatively decent public image.
Pretty sure he already called that one dude a pedophile for not using his dumb submarine.
Was that before or after this? I couldn't remember if that was before or after. That was the first thing.
We gotta look that quick. Musk calls dude pedophile.
I feel like you're gonna get a lot of hits for that, especially these days.
That was July 2018.
This was 17, wasn't it?
And this episode came out. Yeah, maybe. 2017. All right. He was still a fuck. We knew he was a fuck, but maybe not as much of one.
Right. Public image was not what it is today. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
He didn't have to carry his child around on his shoulders for protection.
Right.
He's gonna name his next one Flak Jacket. Like,
does anybody know why he and Trump just can't wear hats correctly?
I don't know that
assholes?
I've noticed. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen Trump wear a hat. It looks fine. I guess. I don't know.
No,
it's fine. I don't know. I'm not gonna harp on someone for how they wear their hat. Carrying around their baby as a bullet shield. That'll harp on them for. But
sure.
You know, wear whatever fuck clothes you want. I don't care. Let's see. Stamets is like, I'm not doing this again. Fuck you. I'm not risking our lives. This is not a warship. This is science. I'll take my shit and go. Lorca's like, your shit is owned by Starfleet. Stop being a little bitch. Stamets says, and he storms out. Lorca, because he's an asshole, decides that the best move at this point to convince Stamets to do what he needs to do is to play a recording of the colony being bombed, where you
not
can
just
hear,
like a recording.
You can
it's
hear
like a
children,
fucking cut up.
Yeah, children
of
crying
suffering.
for
Like a
their mothers
montage?
and shit. Yes,
this was edited. Yeah,
Some
This
kind
is like a
of
cut
wild
up of suffering.
some kind of wild ass fucking psyop he plays across the whole ship. He doesn't just send it to Stamets. He plays it on like a ship-wide hail.
Although it would have been very funny if he had like played it along the hallway as Stamets walked.
That would have been funny. Or set like an orderly to like walk behind him with like a speaker.
Oh my god.
Oh man. See, what are yeomen for if not for shit like that, man?
Just holding big ass clipboards.
Okay, so Landry and Burnham are down in the lovely room of death. Landry's like, oh, I'm gonna get me a fucking claw. So she takes off some kind of crazy laser beam and like a knife. And she's like, I'm gonna open that thing and take that claw. She opens the thing and immediately gets fucked up.
Well,
even.
She puts some type of sedative.
She runs the sedative. Oh, I'm sorry. This was extra stupid. She runs the sedative program. The computer's like, no problem, venting gas. And then it's like, the sedative program has completed. She did not check with the computer to see if the thing was actually sedated, which she also could have checked with her eyeballs, because even I could see that the thing was still fucking moving.
Uh-huh.
This iteration of computer is the best. It's so good.
It's very dry. And knowing where this computer ends up at the end of the show, it's like kind of funny that it's like, it's already kind of weirdly got a personality.
Yeah.
She opens the thing, immediately gets fucked up, and just, she's dead. She dies. Fun fact, the actor was not told until she read this script that her character was dying this early into the show.
Nice.
Aw,
She had some feelings about that.
that's rough.
Sure.
They beam, she gets hurt. Burnham manages, she turns the lights up in the room to full. The thing gets scared, goes back into its dark little corner so Burnham can close the pen cage. And then they beam to sickbay where Dr. Dreamy says,
he's like, bitch is dead.
she's dead. Like, he just does that like shake his head thing. Like, there's nothing I can even try here.
Do you see her face?
And then Lorca is like, don't let her death be in vain. Which is like, she was actively being stupid as shit, dude.
Right.
Like, It's already in vain. She did it to herself. Act 3. We are on the Shenzhou, and a Klingon EVA suit with some fucking cake shows up. Just 2 big old fucking sheet cakes back there. It's
Doesn't that mean that they were flat?
It's shut the fuck up, Rob. It's
Rob asking the real questions.
More like pound cakes built for pound.
Oh man, but it's so jiggly and nice under there.
All right.
Anyways,
Oh God.
You made it gross. Mine was a joke.
I made it gross. I made it gross by using the word jiggly.
That's right.
Volk comes on with this like cool ass like Klingon like temporary atmospheric generator thing, which is like that's kind of cool. And kind of just going through the captain's like ready room. L'Orel is down in engineering because they're trying to get a dilithium processor so they can get their ship running again.
Then some Klingon flirting ensues.
Yeah, so then he kind of hits on her in a weird way. And
Does he? Or does like she hit on him?
then she kind of hits on him back. It's fine. The problem I'm having is that like Klingon is not to the human ear a very romantic language.
This is like a German love movie.
There's a bit of a dissonance between what I'm reading and what I'm hearing because the subtitles are all like, "Oh, you're so strong," but the Klingon is very harsh and like angry.
Yeah, very throaty, very.
She lets him know that removing the dilithium matrix will be a little difficult. If they fuck it up, they will explode. He says, "Okay, well, let's try," and then they pull it out. Like it's actually not that hard. We also find out here that she belongs to 2 separate houses. Her dad is the house that she's kind of adopted. Her mom's house are the CIA.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, the Klingon CIA.
Okay, let's see. That was easy. Okay, so Saru comes into having been summoned to Lorca's lowly room of death. Burnham speeches at him, and then it turns out that like she was gauging his threat ganglia to see if the tardigrade was actually a threat, because and like we don't find this out like explicitly till later, but like Saru's species has this like preternatural sense of danger. So if you remember in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, when Zaphod Beeblebrox has those peril-sensitive sunglasses that whenever your life's in danger, they just go black because it's better to see nothing killing you than to see it coming. Yeah. Douglas Adams was taken entirely too soon. His threat ganglia are basically that. Like if he sees something dangerous, they kind of come out of his fucking head and they're gross.
Yeah.
Apparently they're tasty, but we don't find that out till later.
Oh, I forgot about that. Don't like that.
Saru is like, so Burnham's like, see, your threat ganglia aren't out, and there's a scary fucking monster over here. So like, obviously it's not actually that scary. Saru is indignant that she had the audacity to trick him by using a speech, which is like the sacred thing that you don't fuck, like you, that is sacrosanct. You do not fuck with speeches, but she tricked him with a speech. Tilly, he storms off indignant. Tilly brings a jar of spores into the death room because apparently the ship doesn't tell anyone when spores just kind of wander off the spore drive deck.
It's fine. Shut up.
I feel like there should be more of a confirmation process for opening the horribly dangerous containment pen, because it's pretty much like, hey, computer, open this. And the computer's like, no problem. I hope the monster eats you.
Yeah. Like, at least are you sure?
Are you sure?
Burnham puts down the flask of spores and opens it. The tardigrade comes up like, is this what I think it is? Is this a sweet treat?
Sweet treat?
It is a sweet treat.
It's a sweet treat. Oh,
it smells like a sweet treat. It is. I knew it is a sweet treat. So he ate some tasty ass spores. And then
whatever. Are they food? I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, it's not clear. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Sure.
It looks like his drooly mouth is grabbing some of them, but they're also just kind of like clinging to his body in weird places.
It's catnip then.
Sure.
It's tardigrade catnip.
Tardigrade catnip. Although, like,
That's probably accurate.
they're feeding it something.
Yeah.
Fear.
But
Landry.
and this is where Burnham like basically figures out like, oh, it's a symbiotic relationship. They teleport the tardigrade into the spore, like into the mushroom farm on the ship, and the tardigrade's like, fuck yes. And it's just like gallivanting in the best way that a tardigrade can.
Yeah, it's like you transported a cat into a garden full of catnip.
Yeah. It's just having a grand old time. And
Stamets was jealous.
Stamets is jealous because he wanted to talk to the mushrooms the way that Ripper does. Although I will point out this is the moment where I was like, really? We're going with Ripper? Because Stamets also calls it Ripper. And it's like, Ripper, the best y'all could come up with was Ripper.
I still think it should have been Fluffy. Whatever.
Or Bubbles. Is that the name of the amoeba from Stellaris? Is Bubbles?
Yep.
Burnham says like, well, you got your new navigator. And I guess my question is like, how did the guy on the Glen figure this out? Because obviously they already figured this out and like made a bunch of technology to sync up with this tardigrade, but whatever.
I feel like this thing probably like stowed away in one of their
Well, it
jumps.
did. It showed up in their cargo bay where they kept their mushrooms.
Yeah.
But I guess like my question is like, how did the guy on the Glen not only figure this out, but also make technology to interface with it?
Because he's smarter than Stamets.
Voq and Laurel get back to their ship with the flirty dilithium processor is what I have in my notes here. Turns out Douche is, shocker, still a douche, has taken over his ship by feeding Voq's crew. Voq is very indignant at being betrayed. Laurel also is like, well, I guess I'm going to betray you too. It's pretty obvious to everyone except for Douche Bro that she's being like, this is...
Well, and Voq.
Well, and Voq, but Voq's an idiot. We already established that. But like, Laurel's laying it on thick. Douche is like, I'm going to kill him. Laurel's like, I got a better idea. Why not put him on the Senjo to die slowly? And so that's what they're going to do. Act 4. Stamets figures out that the tech from the Glen interfaces with the tardigrade, so they have a better idea of where to go. They beam the tardigrade into the containment chamber, which I have questions about this containment chamber and why it existed before they knew about the tardigrade.
Yeah, I also had that question. Was that just like the fun preview chamber before? Was that all that was for?
I guess.
That's what Michael used it for.
Anyways, the tech from the Glen turns out are tardigrade nipple clamps.
I was gonna say the old Fluffy gets a titty piercing here.
Fluffy does not like the nipple clamps, but the Stamets is like,
shocking.
Well,
What?
it's working, and so they're going to go over. So they jump in right over top of the colony as its shields collapse. As the colony's shields collapse, the Klingon birds of prey, they shoot at two of them and immediately blow two of them up. And then there's other ones that are coming in for a swoop on the Discovery. Discovery takes a couple hits. Saru says shield's holding at 80, but then immediately announces that they've dropped to 75%. So I don't know what holding means. But basically the Discovery's getting fucked up. Instead of just like
Firing
shooting
again?
back and killing them, they decide to like spore jump out, but leave some torpedoes behind so that the Klingon birds of prey, which apparently were planning to just ram into the Discovery because they did not veer at all, get blown up by the torpedoes that were left by. It was a dumb strategy. I'm not sure why. I think Lorca just thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I mean that is a very mirror universe move.
You know what? Shit. You know what, Chris? Fair enough. Like, that's a good point. Because if anything is try hard as fuck, it is the mirror universe.
Yep.
Dude, I
All
bet
right,
you
fair
too,
enough.
in the mirror universe, the Klingons just ram everything.
Mm-hmm. Ramming speed. All right, we get back to Voq, who's marooned on the Senjo as he watches his ship warp away, and he's like, fuck. Laurel beams up behind him, and he's like, yo, bitch, I'm gonna kill you. And Laurel's like, no, I was saving your life. And look, I've got a plan, but it involves witches.
Are you cool with witches?
Are you cool with witches? And Voq's like, I'm gonna hear your witches out. Laurel apparently stole a raider so that they could get away, which, like, where was this raider? I guess
I assume on
was
coal
it
ship somehow?
Douche Bros raider?
Must have been.
All right. They decide not to let the tardigrade just live in the mushroom forest, which I don't really understand. So they put him back in the cage and give him another vial of the good stuff. But now it's sad and feels betrayed by Burnham. Because these 4 or 5 birds of prey were blown up, the Klingons decide that this colony is no longer worthy of being attacked, so they just leave it alone now, so it's fine. Back in Burnham and Tilly's room, we find out that there is actually a way to silence the container's little alarm, and that's by giving a speech, because as Tilly's speech is at Burnham, the alarm stops. It literally does not sound again during her entire speech. But then, because again, dramatic timing, the alarm does go off right after her speech. But basically she's like, this thing went all the way across the galaxy to find you, so maybe you should open it, you dumb bitch. That's what my mom always said. Well, except for when she was abusive. Okay, bye. And then she leaves.
Pretty much. That's the gist.
This is where I like how you have to accept it before the case will open for you. It seems like a weird liability thing. Then Georgiou gives a speech of like why she's giving Burnham this thing she's giving her, and like, I don't know, it feels like there's a line that's like, boy, it sure would be awkward if you were kind of the reason I died. Ha ha ha. Anyways. And then like she opens the case and it is the telescope, which everyone knew it was going to be. Although I've come to realize that there must be nothing more satisfying in the Star Trek universe than synthesizing custom fitted foam. Because like, you could synthesize some real nice custom fitted foam, because this telescope was snug as a bug in a rug in that fucking case.
So, small trivia note here. When she opens the case, there's a small plaque that has a code, which is 416647. These are both area codes for Toronto, where the series is filmed.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, and then that was the end of the episode. TBC, as with all Discovery. So on a scale from 1 to 5, where 0 is what was the name of that shitty episode?
Which one? There's several.
The gray, the
Threshold,
one that's
Cogenitor.
No, the gray one. The
the
Shades
Riker
of Gray. Shades of
one.
Gray.
Yeah.
Where 0 is Threshold. How do we feel? I feel like we started with Rob last time, so let's start with Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good episode. I enjoyed it. There was some good foreshadowing. There was, I felt like it had a pretty good pace aside from the several speeches, but that's kind of par for the course for Discovery. So it was a 4 for me.
All right, Rob.
I also gave it a 4. I appreciate the writing in the show a lot. I really like the humor, and it was just a good episode. I enjoyed it.
So just to be boring, I also gave it a 4.
Nice.
I really appreciate the pacing of this episode. I think they did a good job, like pointing out something, talking about it again, and then bringing it back up, like the rules of 3 with the tardigrade, the rules of 3 with Voch. Like they did a good job with that kind of like standard, like narrative toolbox, and like it was an interesting like overall story. They're doing a good job so far. They're doing a good job telling like self-contained little stories inside the bigger narrative. Like, there's this war and we've got this experimental tech, but today we're talking about how we're trying to get the tech to work to save one colony, and like that's what we're doing today. And I really appreciate that kind of structure.
Yep,
Plus, Dr.
agreed.
Dreamy showed up, so like automatic bump.
Loves his Dr. Dreamy.
God, he's so nice. IMDb gave it a 3 because they suck.
Speaking of Dreamy, did you notice like at one point on the bridge there is an incredibly handsome
yes
unnamed guy?
Yeah.
Way too handsome.
Way too handsome. He reminds me of like he's the 2017 version of like that Nazi guy from the original pilot. Like just like classically handsome and blonde. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when we get back, we will have a small deep dive. back. So I originally wanted to do a deep dive about the batshit insane concept that was the title of this episode, but there's no information about it. Someone just thought of it and they put it down. It really lets you know that, like, maybe workshop an idea, people. Like, really maybe, like, run it by another couple of people first before you just print it out on the page. So anyways, instead, I wanted to take a very brief look at two actors who showed up in this episode, one of which was going under a pseudonym in the credits, but we will talk about him in a moment. But first I want to talk about Mary Shifo, I believe is how my mother says it is pronounced. This is the woman who plays Laurel. Now, I have asked my mom, because my mom has talked with this woman. Apparently there is some, like, Mary Shifo is a part of an improv group that occasionally, like, intersects my mom's improv group, because my mom does improv. Mom said that she hasn't seen her in a bit, but she thinks she's going to be at this thing she's going to next month. And if she is, I asked my mom if she could ask Miss Shifo if I could, like, send her a polite email and ask her to be on our podcast. So there is a chance that we can have, like, actual talent on this podcast.
I think I told you guys already. One of my table mates at Chris's brother's wedding is apparently, like, this woman's aunt, I think.
So if you want to call Chris's random table mate person and see if she could get me Mary Shifo's emails, that would also be fun. But anyways, both of the actors today are going to fall into that category of, oh fuck, I'm getting old, because they are both younger than us. Mary Shifo was born in 1992. Although November 7th is her birthday, that's the day after my birthday. That's fun. She did go to Juilliard. Her only real, like, thing is Star Trek Discovery. That's, like, the biggest thing she's been in. She's done a lot of smaller, like, stage production stuff for, like, her improv troupe and things, but, like, her only really big on-screen role so far has been Star Trek Discovery. Now, she's only 32, got a long career ahead of her. Like, she is still working. So this is where it's like, I thought she did a good job as Laurel.
Yeah.
There's a fair amount of acting chops that you need to have to be able to act behind a bunch of fucking prosthetics and makeup, and B, using a made up language. And I think she managed to nail it very well. There is an interview. Discovery falls into these, like, newer television shows where we actually have a lot of information about how this show was made because they ran, like, a simultaneous podcast while it was being produced.
Right.
So, like, there's a lot of, like, interviews and stuff with the actual actors, like, basically the same week that the episode airs. So she was explaining about her and the person who's playing Vok, who's the other person I'm going to talk about, were running through their lines during that dilithium sequence, and, like, how it was her and him that kind of came up with, like, the semi-flirty energy. And, like, but also she's like, but I'm going to shut him down, and, like, it was good. But that, like, they had practiced that scene so many times that she had, like, memorized the bullshit Klingon that she was supposed to be talking.
Oh my God.
Which is, like, that's commitment right there. That's a dedication to your role. And not only the fact that plus I can't imagine how many hours she had to sit for fucking makeup every day.
Yeah. I've heard, like, actors talking about, like, these, like, full face, prosthetics and all that, and how long it takes, and it just sounds agonizing.
Yeah. Ethan Phillips talked about it because he was Neelix on Voyager.
Yeah.
And he's like, I had to be there 4 hours before everyone else.
Gosh.
And he had to stay, like, 2 hours late too. Like,
that sucks.
Yeah. It was like he's like, I had to get in there 4 hours ahead of time, and then Balana had to show up 2 hours in. So, like, it was just her and me for a little bit until everyone else got to show up for regular makeup.
Man.
So otherwise, she, this is pretty much it, and she does a good job here. Her partner in the show, the kind of person she is across from the most in this episode, was Vok. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler alert for later in Discovery, but also the show is 7 years old, so deal with it. Volk, after going to the witches, gets like this weird genetic thing, and he becomes. Rob, you've seen Discovery, right?
Yeah, he becomes
Okay.
Ash.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, he becomes Ash, which is like a human that's on the show later. It is the same actor, believe it or not, playing Volk right now and Ash.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Yeah, I did know
crazy.
that. Yeah.
I did not know that. And actually, in the credits, he goes under a pseudonym when he's playing Volk because they did not want to spoil that for everybody.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's funny.
That's
So he
interesting.
actually, he made up a pseudonym that was based off of his dad's name. Iqbal is his first name. I forget the other pseudonym. But this guy's name is Shahzad Latif. He was born Iqbal Amin, but I guess he goes by Shahzad Latif.
Yeah, well, if you will be spoiled for it if you if you're watching it on Amazon because they have like the cast.
Oh,
of
and a
the
picture
scenes
of him.
with a picture of him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the idea is that call sheets are relatively public knowledge. I don't know how that information gets out, but everyone knows who's going to be in stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I'm not sure if that's like a union thing or what. So they didn't want this plot point to be spoiled while he was Volk because the later episodes with Ash had already been cast, so the call sheets were already available, even though they hadn't actually filmed or broadcast them yet. So he went by a pseudonym in order to kind of throw everyone off, which is surprisingly clever. He has a slightly more robust acting career. He was born in 1988, so he's not as much younger than us, but is still younger than us. He is he's actually Pakistani as well as English and Scottish. So he's actually from the United Kingdom. And is in he started on a BBC series called Spooks. And then he played Clem Fandango on Toast of London. Are either of you aware of Toast of London?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched any of it.
So there's this actor whose name is Matt Berry. Matt Berry was in IT Crowd. He was the second boss that showed up. He's hilarious. Honey, this is the there's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door. That guy. Toast of London is his show, which is, for lack of a better term, it's like I don't know. This is like a British tradition where there's these shows that are kind of about the actor, but not actually about the actor. Ricky Gervais was in one, which I think was called Real Acting, where he interviewed actors, but it was ridiculous shit. Zach
Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis is another good example of this, but the Ricky Gervais one was Ian McKellen explaining how to act like a wizard, and he was just explaining how acting works.
Sure.
Syrian.
So anyway, Shahzad was in that show, as well as a couple of others, smaller parts in the United Kingdom. Discovery is his longest running show. He is also Captain Nemo in a Disney Plus produced show called Nautilus. Nautilus they ran for one series and then decided to never actually syndicate it. They never published it. So they filmed it, packaged it, and were like, nah, fuck this. The BBC bought the rights to it. Or no, I'm sorry, Amazon. Amazon bought the rights to it, but only for the United Kingdom. So I'm actually kind of interested in finding this show, but apparently you can only watch it. It only exists in the UK.
So weird.
And now we get to our sponsor for this week's episode, NordVPN.
And if that doesn't work, the Pirate Bay.
Yar.
So yes, and he's actually been in a couple of movies, small time stuff, but here and there. He was in The Commuter, for example, and mostly bit roles. And he's got a relatively robust television career. But these two actors having, which is given that they are basically tent-poling the, adversarial side of this show, like they're both kind of no-name actors. So it's actually kind of interesting that they got cast, but they both kind of hit it out of the park in terms of like these Klingons. I think Laurel does, Shifo does a good job with Laurel, and I think that Fazan? Latif does a good job with Boch. Again, especially considering the makeup and the fake language.
I think he does a good job with Ash too.
He does, yes. I don't remember a whole lot of Ash other than I was annoyed in Section 31 stuff.
Yeah.
But he's also like kind of handsome, so like I don't know, that's fine. All right. Well, that's what I've got for this particular deep dive. Just a little bit of an actor thing. The next time I do a deep dive will probably be about Dr. Dreamy, so look forward to that. But anyways, we will be back with a potpourri.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, so for today's potpourri, I wanted to do a little bit of word association. So I've got
Do I need
a
to-
number.
Do we need to go get comfortable on like a therapist couch or?
No. So what I'm gonna do, I got a number of words, Star Trek related. I'm going to say them, and I think what I'll do is we'll go back and forth between you, so you're not like shouting over each other. I'm going to say a word.
Rob will
I want
lose.
you. There's no winning or losing this time. So Rob, you don't have to worry.
Oh shit! Catching strays.
I shouldn't say that because I've been losing all the trivia lately. So
I was going to say, I beat you last week.
You did, yeah. So I'm going to say a word, and like I'm talking, as soon as something pops into your head, I want you to say what it is. What the first thing that word makes you think of.
I better put away the picture of this handsome guy then.
You say less thinking the better here. I'm going to say the word. You say the first thing that comes to your head. Got it?
Okay, and then we explain how we got there.
Yes, yeah.
Got it.
All right, who wants to go first? Stanford, you want to go first? All right, decided.
You're welcome.
All right, Burnham.
So the first word that popped into my head was Bo Burnham.
Same. Oh my god, same.
See, perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for.
I was thinking that don't get me wrong, Inside was a great show and it's like one of my favorite pieces of media. But when I hear his name, I only think of that line. So take off your bras and burn them, or you can let me burn them. Take off your bras and burn them. You can let Bo burn them.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh man.
All right, Rob, you're next.
Okay.
Data.
Spot.
Aw.
Oh,
Kitty.
now I feel like an asshole.
You're of course referring to
Okay.
Spot, Data's cat.
Yep.
Okay. Stanford. Enterprise.
Like the car rental company?
If that's what popped in your head first.
See, and this is why I've always found Enterprise to be a silly name, because like everything's fucking named Enterprise. Like, what are we doing here?
It is, yeah. I mean, it is. It's not an uncommon thing, but I still think it's probably most associated with Star Trek and in the general zeitgeist.
God, you don't want to know what I thought of.
I don't
do.
Oh no, tell me now. I do want to know.
Licensing.
Licensing.
Yeah,
Oh,
for like
okay.
software.
Yeah, software licensing. Got it. Yeah, I see those emails once a year. That's always fun.
Yeah.
I'm way too familiar with it.
Yeah. Rob, Shaka.
When the walls fell.
Man, see, you got the wrong person for that. 'cause
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan,
Yeah.
Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan.
Immediately.
Yeah, as I say, that's what pops into my head when I'm looking at it on my screen. All I can think of is Shaka Khan, even though I do love that episode.
What?
Yeah.
What's Shaka Khan?
Shaka Khan.
Oh.
Yeah, the musical artist Shaka Khan.
He had a
I
song
don't
that
know who
went
that is.
Shaka Khan, and then he had another song that was really popular. He had like 2 hits. It was
Yeah.
Shaka Khan, and then another one that is off the top of my head. I'm having trouble coming up with.
All right, Stanford, you're up next.
Okay,
Line.
line go up.
What's line go up?
So line go up is like okay. All
Of
right,
course,
hold on.
it's not like a quick explanation.
Sorry.
Stonks.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly
It
what
is-
I'm looking for.
It is stonks. It stonks. But like line goes up is like the title of this documentary that the Folding Ideas guy did. That was about like the whole That one wasn't the NFT one, was it? Yeah, I think it was the NFT, like the whole NFT craze and like cryptocurrency and all this other goddamn nonsense. But the idea being that line goes up is like the idea that like somehow capitalism revolves around infinite growth. Like, because if it doesn't have infinite growth, it will eventually fail, but capitalism doesn't allow that to happen.
Right.
So yeah, line goes up.
Yep, line goes up. Good deal.
What were you? Where did this word come from in terms of Star Trek?
Line must be drawn here.
Oh yeah, no further. Oh man,
This far, no farther. Yeah. All right, Rob. This is funny because these are ending up on the
wrong
to the
side?
person who I know has like very strong feelings about him. Rob, holodeck.
Oh, carbon filter.
Ew.
ew.
Biofilter, you mean?
Biofilters.
Yeah,
ew.
biofilter.
Yep. Fair enough. No explanation needed.
I didn't have a word. I just saw red and went into a seething rage.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought of Hollaback Girl.
There ain't no holodeck girl. Oh my god! I wish one of us was like anyway, like musically inclined that way, and we could do some fucking
Same.
parodies.
Oh
That
my
would
God.
be fucking
Did
funny.
you all listen to the episode where you sang?
No. I stopped
No.
listening to it at that point.
Oh,
no,
so good.
don't. It's bad.
We
Well, to be fair, we also
To be
had
fair,
no
we couldn't hear
music
the
to go
music,
off
yeah.
of.
Which
Oh,
actually,
God.
knowing that actually sounds better than I was expecting.
It was terrible. I listened to that. Like, it was actually the first episode I listened to in a while. Like, actually, like played back and listened to, and I'm like,
Thanks,
oh,
Chris.
this is
Nice
the part I
to-
need to stop.
It's nice to know you support the show.
Oh man. All right. Stanford. Vulcan.
So all I'm thinking of is that Pinar syndrome episode with the stupid Vulcan AIDS.
Vulcan AIDS. Oh man.
Minar syndrome, whatever it's fucking called.
No, I think it's Pinar. I think that's
It's
right.
Pinar, yeah.
Is it Menard's the real one?
Yeah.
Meniere's.
Meniere's, there it
Yeah,
is.
Meniere's.
All right, Rob. Crusher.
Crusher, hell, damn near killed her.
I just immediately heard inside of my head, "Shut up, Wesley."
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
Yes. That's what pops into my head when I see it.
Oh man.
All right, this one ended up on the right one. Stanford. Q.
Fuck off.
Take your time.
God.
What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
No, that was it. Fuck off. God, I fucking hated Q.
That's it. That's all you got. Fuck off.
Yeah, what am I supposed to say? He was a fucking dumb concept. And like, I'm mostly annoyed that he was like,
Oh, God.
fucking pilot of TNG shows up.
This is the rest of the episode now.
Yeah.
I of course think of Q, but I also think of Avenue Q. Have you ever heard that?
Mhm.
The internet
The
is for
internet.
porn.
Internet,
The
is,
internet
for
is for porn.
Grab your dick and double click for porn. Ah, so many good songs.
Hi, Kate Monster. Yeah.
All right, Rob. Space station.
Spaceship.
This is spaceship.
Spaceship.
This big spaceship.
It's big. So, all
Freaking-
right, that's going to need some explanation.
Oh my god, the Lego Movie was such like it was such a great moment in time.
Yeah, so good. What was the big spaceship? What were you talking
So
about?
I've got this book of spacecraft from like, I don't know, the 70s that like some guy took a bunch of like concept art for old science fiction novels and was like, hey, can I make up little stories for this? And all the artists were like, fuck yeah. So he collected this, like, it's like a textbook sized book of like full page illustrations of random spaceships and shit. And then he would make up little stories of it. Well, Liam was like 2, and he's sitting with me flipping through this book, and he would point at a ship. You're like, what's that? Daddy, what's that? And I'm like, oh, that's a, and I'd read the fucking title of the thing. It's like, oh, that's an H-31 Hornet. And he'd go, it's a spaceship. And I'm like, right. And he flipped the page, like, what's that one? It's like, oh, that's a, an X-33 Hawkeye. It's a spaceship. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a spaceship. And then he was like, that's a spaceship. It's a big spaceship. Like, actually, it's a space station. And he goes, it's a purple one.
It's a purple one. So sometimes you'll hear us say, it's a purple one.
Nice.
From that.
Yeah, because he had his like cute little 2-year-old voice.
Sure.
It's a spaceship.
It's spaceship.
All right. Stanford. Borg.
Fuck, why are you doing this to me? Which is what I say every time the Borg show up on screen.
The way I said that reminded me of the Swedish chef. Sporgy, borgy, borgy,
Schmorgy, borg, borg.
Bork, bork, bork.
Bork, bork, bork.
Sounds Swedish.
Oh my gosh, that's what we need to do it from now on whenever the Borg are on. Is
Bork,
just
bork,
have
bork.
Bork, bork, bork.
Along those lines, Rob, food.
I immediately thought of Neelix, which is funny because I still haven't watched Voyager. Well, I guess I've seen episodes here and there.
Yeah. He made some truly terrible food at the beginning of that, although I feel like it got better over time.
His food wasn't ever terrible. Everyone liked it.
Didn't he make some weird cheese one time, though?
Oh, yeah. Well, that infected the whole ship. But, like, I gather it tasted
But other
good,
than
at
that,
least.
Sure.
Yeah, because Rutherford then later talks about how he took down Voyager using the Neelix cheese.
Neelix cheese. But, all right, Stanford, bottle.
So all I thought, this is not Star Trek related at all.
That's okay.
It reminds me of a scene from Love Actually, because this like fucking whatever his name is in like Michigan or some shit, and he's like saying words. He's bottle, and they're all going bottle, and he goes table, and they're like table. Oh, it's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
The same.
that's the one that who has the guy who has a big knob.
And he's got a big knob.
knob. Yep. Oh man.
But what was your inspiration for bottle?
Bottle episode.
Oh.
All right, Rob, Latinum.
Oh, fucking Quark.
Quark. Yep,
Gold pressed
that
Latinum.
tracks. He did talk about gold pressed Latinum a lot.
A lot. I think, you know what? There needs to be what's that thing called where like you have two women talking and it can't be about a guy?
The Bechdel test?
The Bechdel?
Yeah. We need to come up with like a Ferengi Bechdel test.
Thank God that's not where I thought he was going with that.
We need one of those things where like two girls are like, oh, scissoring. Rob, you're talking about scissoring.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, where's Rob going with this?
All right, Stanford. Now, last one, intro.
It's been a long time.
Oh,
Wait, long road. Getting from there to here.
Yeah, I figured that's what would happen.
Man. I am like because I have made a solemn pact with our listeners that I will watch every minute of every intro. I'm tired of the Game of Thrones intro already. It's so fucking boring.
Dude, I really like the Discovery intro.
Yeah, you would.
The music is really good.
The music sounds like Game of Thrones.
No, it doesn't.
Like the music makes it sound more Game of Thronesy.
Well, sure. But yeah, that was it. A little fun word association.
Wait, I got one for you, Chris.
Oh, okay. Hit me with it.
Podcast.
Friends. I get to spend time with my friends doing this. This is great. Having good conversation. Having fun.
He had to. That was his second one after Joe Rogan Experience.
It was not. That guy is a freaking insane
asshole.
person.
Yeah.
Not just an asshole. Like legitimately insane. Anyway, that will wrap up today's episode. As Stanford mentioned at the top of the podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars, do all that stuff. That makes a big difference to us. And we will catch you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.